So ever since Donnie's first appearance, we've kind of always known that he had this ability to levitate or lift things, as we have seen him do way back in Chapter 2 when he made Percival float. And for a while, we always speculate whether it was gravity or some form of levitation, or be it some kind of wind, or seeing as here is related to Hauser. There's kind of been a lot of speculation, but with recent chapters, we did get the confirmation for his magic, and it is telekinesis. Now, for those of you who do not know, you can describe telekinesis as a number of different things, but from looking at a lot of the definitions, I would basically sum it up as the ability to move or manipulate or more or less interact with things using your mind, or I guess not really your mind, but non-physical means essentially. Now, in Diney's case, it is his magic that is allowing him to manipulate things with his mind. Not saying he's like some Jean Grey, all-powerful Phoenix type guy or type character, but as of right now, this is where his ability stands. And I think one of the really interesting things about Donny is that his ability is kind of, I guess this is true for a lot of powered characters, but his ability is definitely limited by his mind state, because before, when he just thought his ability was just some, simple ability to float things, that's all he could really do is just float things and not really do much else with it. But when Sin was kind of explaining and guiding him to like learn more about his magic in the middle of his fight, he did learn that he can do other things with it, such as, lift people up and throw them somewhere else. So it's kind of like taking baby steps on the path of, mastering his telekinesis. Granted, very far away from mastering telekinesis, because anybody who knows anything about telekinesis, it can go really, really far. Like some of the upper limits of telekinesis would be things along the lines of being able to alter things chemical structure, being able to move planets around with your brain, being able to sense, people from like large distances away, like all kind of crazy stuff. Like telekinesis can really go really, really far. But in Donnie's case, as far as what Donnie is able to do with his ability, so far he's just able to pick up things with it and throw them elsewhere, which isn't really a lot when you look at it. Like, he doesn't really have a lot going on for him right now. But I do believe that Donnie may get to, now I don't think he's going to get to the mastery level, like that absolute top level of telekinesis. I don't think he's going to be, on the Mount Rushmore of telekinesis users, but I do think he will become pretty adept with it. And kind of one of the things I want to do for telekinesis, or at least in Diney's case, is I kind of want to break it up into like three different aspects that I think that you could categorize it in. Whereas, like, in terms of like strength and power, like what he'd be able to do with it, I do believe he'll be able to pick up like bigger things with it, like maybe because he already picked up one of those big monsters, chaos monsters back in Sustainia. So I do think he'll be able to pick up even larger things or stop things of even larger force. Like, I believe like maybe a in-game Donnie will be able to completely halt, like, say, a being as large as that ancient dragon in place, or even some of the demons that we've seen in Seven Deadly Sins. I definitely believe with his telekinesis, I do see him being able to get to that point. In terms of like how far his range will go, as of right now, Donnie's maximum range is 25 feet. So anything that is at least 25 feet close to him that he can perceive, so like meaning that he can actually see, because if it's moving too fast, as Fiddish just exposed him, if it's moving too fast, he can't exert any control over it. Now, I do believe he will be able to extend his range. Now, as far as how far his range will be able to get, can't really say for sure. I doubt he'll be as skilled as King is, from the original Seven Deadly Sins, because as we know, King was able to control his spirit sphere from miles away when he was fighting against the original demon. So I don't know if he'll be able to get like this like super long range miles of control, but I do think he will be able to extend this 25 feet by a sizable amount. I at least hope that we can get at least 100 yards, couple hundred yards in there, like not really a mile, but like just give him some sizable distance. And as far as what he will be able to affect with his telekinesis, I don't see Donnie getting like this super crazy X-Men route where they start like where there are people like Jean Grey can alter things on like a chemical level and stuff like that. I don't think they're gonna go that route in Fortnite. I think it'll probably stay along the lines of him only being able to like stop and lift and pull physical things, like actual physical objects such as people, weapons, rocks, things along those lines. However, I do think he will be able to eventually affect magic. Now, what I mean by that is, say someone shoots a fireball at him or something. There's a mage who shoots fire at him. I do believe that Donnie, once he gets a better grasp on his telekinesis, will be able to stop that, maybe send it back, or at the very least redirect it. Now, I'm not for sure how he's going to get to that point, but I really do think it'll probably be more along the lines of what Sin was already already, you know, getting at him about, being as he just needs to look at his magic differently, because as of right now, he's never really thought about trying to stop something like that. So I do believe that once Donny does kind of open his mind and really start to use his imagination, kind of like Percival, and really explore the depths of what his magic can potentially do, that he'll be able to start affecting magic and other like energies in that sense. So I guess there's not really any other energies in Seven Deadly Sins, but you kind of get what I'm saying here on that one. A couple like techniques that I think Donny will be able to like apply like within this series potentially relatively soon is, I do think he may be able to get something revolving like a force field, or not necessarily like a really traditional force field, but a somewhat of a automatic defense, because as we've seen with Fittich, Donny cannot you know, intercept or use his ability on things that he can't see or that are moving too fast for him. So I think a good way that he could compensate for his weaknesses is potentially develop an ability that'll kind of like redirect something's course to make it miss him, or potentially automatically stop it. Not anywhere near the level of something like Gojo's Infinity, like not even getting close to that, but maybe something that would just help offset his ability to not really, you know, react to things that he can't detect, be it through like that kind of force field thing I was talking about, or maybe even something to where his telekinesis can like drastically boost his perception or his sensing, because as we know with telekinesis, you can sense people if your level is high enough, kind of in that sort of thing. So I do kind of think that if he doesn't get something along those lines, maybe he can get something to where his telekinesis can alert him of, you know, fast approaching danger, so that he might have a chance to react, or like he can be able to like maybe sense someone is about to do something like that, or sense like that, because if he had a high enough sensing ability in telekinesis, what went down with Fittich would have never happened, because he could have either a sensed Fittich, you know, winding up a like crazy strong swing that was going to throw the rock really fast, or even just automatically stopped it, like I was saying a little bit earlier. So maybe one of those two things would be a good like complementary ability for him going forward. And I even think there is a little bit of evidence for something similar to this in the story, because as we've seen very early into Percival and Donny's relationship, when there was the whole thing with the bows and arrows, when Percival went to shoot the bow and arrow, it like automatically missed on its own and went towards Donny. So at the time, myself as well as a lot of other people thought that that was revolving on Percival. However, I do think that it may have revolved with Donny redirecting the course of the arrow to himself. That's just something to think about. It's kind of crazy too when you think about it, that a character like Donny has an ability like telekinesis, because when you look at everything telekinesis can do, he could really stretch the upper limits of this ability, depending on how far Nakaba wants to go with letting Donny really use his imagination and explore his abilities. Now that is basically everything that Donny can do. Like as I said earlier, he can't really do a lot right now since we just figured out the name of it, but as I was saying, I do think he will be able to extend the limits of his ability, possibly to where I said, or maybe even further. I would like to know what you guys think about Donny's telekinesis down below. Did you guys think it was telekinesis before it actually got like formally revealed, or what do you guys think he'll also be able to do? Like, do you guys think he'll be able to like do some of the more crazier things, like rearrange particles or move worlds, or like something crazy? Do you guys think he's gonna get like with that far, or do you guys kind of think it'll probably stay a little bit more grounded, or do you think he's not going to get any much stronger at all? Like his range will stay 25 feet, he'll never be able to pick up anything huge? I kind of just want to know where you guys feel Donny's abilities are going to be at. But that being said, that's about everything I have to say about Donny and his magic. Not super long video on this one because there's not a lot to talk about. But just make sure you guys comment you guys' thoughts down below. Make sure you guys like the video as well as subscribe to the channel for more content. And I will see you all in my next video.